from the foundations of private houses to bridges and port facilities. Composite rebar is already being used all over the world, but there are still many myths surrounding this material that prevent engineers and developers from fully utilizing it. In this video, we will address the most common misconception about composite rebar and take a look at where it is already being successfully used in real projects. The first and most common myth is that composite rebar is supposedly too brittle. In reality, it's quite the opposite. Fiberglass rebar has high tensile strength and good elasticity. In seismic regions, these very properties become an advantage. The material is capable of absorbing deformations without developing plastic damage or corrosion. That's why composites are increasingly used in infrastructure projects, especially where structures operate under challenging conditions. One of the most common areas of application for composite rebar is foundations. The main reason is its corrosion resistance. Composite does not rust and does not participate in electrochemical reactions inside concrete, so the reinforcement does not deteriorate over time due to moisture or aggressive environments. In addition, the material is significantly lighter than steel, which simplifies transportation and installation. That's why composites are increasingly used in private construction and low-rise buildings. It is believed that composite rebar is not economically viable, but comparing only the price per kilogram of material is incorrect. Engineers assess the entire life cycle of the structure. Steel rebar can corrode over time, especially in humid or aggressive environments. This leads to concrete repairs, restoration of the protective layer, and additional operational costs. Composite rebar does not have this problem, so in many projects it allows for significantly reduced maintenance costs in the long term. Infrastructure projects are one of the best examples of the practical application of composites. Bridge structures, road slabs, and interchanges operate under constant exposure to moisture, salt, and temperature fluctuations. It is corrosion that often becomes the cause of costly repairs. The use of fiberglass rebar eliminates this factor and increases the service life of concrete elements. That is why such solutions are increasingly being used in bridge construction and transport infrastructure. Concrete roads and pavements are constantly subjected to loads, temperature fluctuations, and exposure to water. When water gets into microcracks and freezes, the gradual destruction of the concrete begins. If, at the same time, the steel reinforcement starts to corrode, the process accelerates. Composite rebar is not susceptible to corrosion, so concrete structures retain their properties much longer. Another common misconception is the lack of regulatory standards. In reality, composite rebar has been used in many countries for decades. There are national standards, technical guidelines, and engineering recommendations. However, there are still no unified international standards, so regulatory requirements may differ from country to country. Nevertheless, the number of regulations and calculation methods is constantly growing. Composite materials are also widely used in building envelope structures. Flexible ties and reinforcing meshes made of composite are used in multi-layered walls. They do not create thermal bridges and are not susceptible to corrosion within the masonry. Composite mesh is also used in façade systems. It increases the resistance of the plaster layer to cracking and extends the service life of the finish. One of the key advantages of composite rebar is its performance in high humidity conditions. Port facilities, embankments, swimming pools, water treatment plants, and irrigation systems are environments where corrosion is a major problem for steel reinforcement. Composite rebar does not rust, so such structures can last significantly longer without major repairs. We supply equipment for the production of composite rebar, including lines for manufacturing rods with diameters from 3 to 32 millimeters and mesh up to 2 meters wide. Everything you need to produce the material right at your own facility. Our equipment has been tested on real projects. It operates efficiently, reliably, and with minimal maintenance costs. If you want to start producing composite rebar or upgrade your existing production, we are ready to help. Contact us and tell us about your project. We will provide a consultation and select equipment tailored to your production volume and budget. Follow the link in the description, submit a request on our website, or message us in the Messenger.